Today I'm going to tell you the story of how a few terrible life decisions made me end up hunting the bumpiest map in Trackmania. Winter 08 released in the official winter campaign a couple of days ago. This map is truly something special. It starts out with a downhill, and then it continues with even more downhills, and would you believe it, jumps followed by further downhills. And with each jump and each landing, you have to control your car as it becomes more and more out of control, and a really shaky landing could completely flip your car or end your run. This is a Trackmania tradition. It goes back over 10 years. They've been doing this in Trackmania 2 with all the cars like Canyon and Lagoon and Valley, and they have now continued it with the stadium car for a couple of times, and now the snow car as it just released. 08 is a map that's been kind of considered a meme in Trackmania, but it also attracts a very dedicated player base. There are in fact a couple of clans that every time that they release a map like this, decide to hunt it for hundreds of hours. In the summer campaign, there was a player that hunted for over 120 hours to eventually get the world record on the 08 map at the time. Now, when I see these maps, I really don't have any ambition to go for the records because I know the maps are bumpy, it's a unique racing experience, but I'm also going up against some of the best downhill players that there are, and yes, this is a thing. So I play the map in the discovery of the campaign for the first time and thought, you know, I'll leave it at that. A couple of days later, I come back because I'm doing the top 0.1% project. I'm trying to get to the top 0.1% of the leaderboard on every map, and 08 was next on my list. This was my second exposure to the map, and when I really started to having to learn the speed strategies. Driving with the snow car, there's a couple of things to pay attention to. In the start, at low speed, you have to steer very gently. I steered at only 20% and 40% with action keys to try to maximize speed. But then you have the landings. This car was designed in 2004, and when they released it in this game, they really just copy and pasted it, and it contains some of the great features that the car from 2004 had when it was made, and that is landing bugs. This car, if it lands even a fraction unsmooth on a downhill, will lose all its speed or bump out of control. It is a unique experience. You can have a landing that looks perfectly smooth, but it will mysteriously cause a speed loss. And a long time of my hunting session to try to get top 0.1% was spent just figuring out this first jump, this first proper jump. How can you land this smoothly? Eventually, what I started to realize is that the jump has to be quite diagonal, in my case from left to right, and the car has to be pointing ever so slightly to the left, meaning you land with the back right tire first, and then you can get a lot more speed out of it. That was only one jump, and it took me maybe 20 minutes to properly figure out. The map has a lot more intricacies than that. Moving on down the hills, you end up with the stadium car on the last jump. And this part is particularly difficult because you have way too much speed for the downhill that the car lands in, and it can cause a bad ending. But really you need this jump to be clean to get a lot of speed to the finish in the middle. And what I realized here is that when you transition from the snow car to the stadium car, you can actually steer in the middle of the air to stop the snow car's rotation. You can't really air brake with the snow car, but doing this, the counter steer in the middle of the air, the stadium car will do a nosedive over the last platform, landing in the downhill and carrying a lot more speed, potentially. It could be just as shaky and just as uncontrollable, but potentially carrying more speed towards the finish. And with these two proper strategies and clean jumps on the rest, I thought I could get top 0.1% if I just spent some time and remained patient. Eventually, I did, in fact, get top 0.1%, and I thought, nice, I'm not going to play this map again. It was, in fact, a top 6 world time, I believe, which I was very happy with. So I thought, yes, I can leave this map behind, I can move on in the campaign and play other things. But after that stream was done, I was a little bit tempted by the idea of getting top 6 and, you know, challenging for top 1 world. I thought, you know, 5 minutes more on the map can't really hurt. I'll just play 5 minutes, just do a few attempts, and then, you know, then I'll leave it at that. If I get frustrated, I'll leave. However, I didn't spend 5 minutes. I spent 10, and then I thought 15 and 20, and I ended up spending several hours that night playing late past midnight because I really wanted to get a good run, and I got many promising runs that just had a few respawns, but they would be world record pace by far if they landed, and I pushed on to try to get a new personal best. Oh my god. Ah, so close. Top 3 out of 64,000. Eventually, I ended up getting a 2248, which was only 3 thousandths behind the record at the time by Nace. And I realized I could definitely beat it, but it would require another 5 minutes, you know? I was very close. I kept playing 5 more minutes and then 5 more minutes. I was addicted, okay? I was addicted, and I can understand how these players now spend hundreds of hours, but I pushed on, and late into the night, with a very intense look on my face, I finally got this one. Please. Yes! Yes! 08 world record! Oh my god, that took a while. That was such a nice run. Now that run was amazing. I was very happy. I got a 2245. I beat the record by 200ths. It was by no means the best checkpoint split I'd gotten, or the cleanest start in all of my time hunting. But after 3 hours of playing total, I did manage to get top 1 world. And this time would stand for a whole 1.5 days. The next stream when I was playing, PSX managed to beat it by another 200ths. I again thought, you know, this looks improvable. That looked kind of wonky and not as refined as you'd expect an 08 run to be. So I again played a couple of minutes during the night, but I didn't manage to beat it. And now when I woke up, and at the time of recording this, the record just dropped by another 0.2 of a second. I had the world record on Trackmania's most bumpy map, the downhill map, and I am quite happy with that. I'm maybe not going to play it more, and if I do, it'll only be another 5 minutes. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Bye-bye.